I'm kind of wondering at this stage in the game where you have tens of thousands of followers on LinkedIn, you also have this podcast that's flowing now. How much time are you spending actively DMing people on LinkedIn? And do you think that's still a viable tactic for growing an audience right now?
Yes, I think it's definitely a viable tactic. That's how I first grew my first 10,000 subscribers, is through the DMs on LinkedIn. And I'm still always in my DMs on LinkedIn because I really believe in engaging with your fans and having that one-on-one connection. And honestly, the way that I get Apple Podcast reviews is when people DM me and give me great feedback, and then I go like back and forth with them and then ask them for an Apple Podcast review, because it's very difficult to get those reviews. And unfortunately, they drastically impact your ranking. And so I'm always after Apple Podcast reviews, and my number one way to get those is through the DMs and making a real connection with people and asking them to copy and paste their great feedback that they DM'd me into an Apple Podcast review instead. But yes, I still do DMing. I retarget the people who like and comment on my social media posts. Granted, it's not as accepted as it was back then because everybody knows I have a podcast now. And so when I do that, people are like, yeah, Hala, we know you have a podcast. You know, when I used to do that, people would be like, oh, wow, you have a podcast? Great. Yeah, let me check it out. I'll give you feedback. So it was like way different. So it's a great strategy when you're just starting out because people probably don't know you have a podcast and you are kind of teaching them something new. For me, now that I'm more established, it gets harder and harder to do strategies like that.
Well, I think that's an important thing to understand and realize when you're growing a podcast, when you're growing a business or a side hustle, is it goes through different phases, right? It seems like you're going up and you're trying to master something. And as soon as you've got it mastered, then you level up to the next level. And now you have to learn, okay, well, now how do I get to that next step, right? The first dollar is tough. Then the next $10,000 is tougher, and so on and so forth. But I gotta be frank, the DMing it's just amazing to me how powerful it still is. Do you use a lot of video, a lot of audio in your DMs? Because, you know, when you're getting thousands of messages, it's almost impossible to reach everyone. How are you actually scaling out these one-to-one contacts?
It depends what it is. So I use LinkedIn automation, and I use automation tools that allow me to scrape people who like and comment on specific posts and then exclude people who I already contacted. So this enables me to do things at scale where I can basically personalize messages and say like, hey, Mark, thank you so much for recently liking my post. If you want to check out the full episode, it was a teaser clip. Check out my Chartable link, or here's my link tree, and I'd love to hear your feedback on how you liked the episode. So that's typically what I do. I retarget the micro content that I put out on LinkedIn through an automation tool. And then I'll put some rules in there, like don't message anyone who we messaged in the past 3 months. Don't message anyone who we messaged about a contest or something, because I don't want to seem spammy. Right. The whole point of this automation and personalization is so it seems real. And then if people actually respond to that automatic message, then it's actually me replying mostly, so that it does feel real, authentic. But that initial message is gone out through automation so that we can scale these conversations. So mostly that's text because those automation tools don't support pictures and videos or audio. But when I'm trying to reach out to guests, for example, that's a whole different story. So when I try to target guests for my podcast, especially celebrity guests that are hard to get in contact with, I usually send them an audio message or a video message with some text, because not everybody wants to watch an audio or a video. So I send them a video and audio, and I send them a text message that kind of summarizes everything that I said in the video. And I've seen some pretty great results in getting ClubHouse guests and podcast guests doing that. It's a little bit more personal, and they know it's not like a bot or a VA when they hear my voice. So it's really effective.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, anytime you can integrate that personal touch, the video and the audio is huge. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed this episode. I've got several other episodes right here for you. Smash one of these videos to make sure that you don't miss out on the tips, tools, and tactics of industry experts. Let's take that side hustle full time. Smash one of these links.